Yellow, no
Bit
start.
too early. There's a restart zone that's labeled on the outside. Oh, huge crash in the back. Rinus VK. It looks like Colton Herta are involved.
That car flew. A lucky escape for Colton Herta. There
Wow.
he is.
Yeah, the guys in the back thought the green was still out, still charging towards the start-finish line as it was waved off, and a huge impact. Very lucky.
Fine.
Yeah, that's, yes, you can hear him say fine on the radio.
Just
We'll
see in
see
the back,
now.
these guys are all nose to tail. You can't really see the flagger, and he just gets into the back tire and drives right over the top of that car. And another example of how the safety screen is really, I believe, just saved Rinus VK's life with that.
And the fact that Colton Herta's, this is good on the onboard. Simon slows up. Rinus, it all just happens so fast.
No start.
You have almost no time to react in that situation. You're trying to be as close to the car in front of you on a restart as possible to try to get that draft, try to maximize.
Well, Rinus VK got a little loose there. It stepped out and he had to check up, and Colton was on a run right there. So it was kind of a little bit of two things going on at once. A yellow, he got a little bit loose right there.
And having that safer barrier sit a few feet off the fence, this really saved Colton Herta from an even scarier ride. Had that gearbox gone into the fence and started spinning that car, that would have been a much more
downforce. So I think they're all experiencing that. I think obviously we did have a good test here last week, but it's a different day. They've done some track repairs since we were last here.
The 4 car, that's Matheus Leist. Anders, describe what happened.
And that's just that typical little bit of a wobble in the middle of 1 and 2, and you try and catch it, but by the time you do that, it's a bit of a pendulum effect, and the rear just swings around. So it was a great attempt to try and save it as he exited turn 2 there, Matheus Leist, but couldn't quite hang on to it. And very, very easy to happen here at Iowa Speedway.
So caution on the course, the 1-car incident involving Matheus Leist. We want to put a period on the conversation with Rob Edwards. Back to Rob Howden.
Yeah, of course, all the cars marked back here onto pit lane. Rob, one more kind of question.
They're fighting right now to keep grip. And
Carlos
Munoz going around and making contact with the rear end.
And very, very light contact. Got very lucky, but he got loose coming off of 2, and it just slid up the track, and he just barely grazed the wall, so very lucky.
That was exactly like Hildebrand's crash in practice. Let's watch the replay here. This comes at the peak corner load right here where you're demanding the most out of the front steering. He hits that bump and kind of walks the car up the track, and it lets go pretty late. It still bumps his head pretty good in the cockpit. We always say it's a light graze, but trust me, you feel it a lot more in the car.
It's light for anyone other than the person driving it.
But 2 guys today get away very, very lucky in terms of crash damage to the car.
And he's only 12th. Team Penske's 12th, 13th, 17th, and 18th. So they are struggling for speed here in this practice session as we've gone yellow. 1 car in the wall ride now, exiting turn number 2. That is the number 21 of J.R. Hildebrand, who has backed it into the wall. That Fuzzy's Ultra Premium Vodka Chevrolet mark. He was awful fast in this session, 11th quick, and he has, again, backed it into the wall, exiting turn number 2.
Most of it left side damage. From our view, we're going to take a look at the replay. He gets really, though, the left side's below the line, and then he was along for the ride after that. And it looked like, hopefully, Nick, mainly bolt-on stuff at the rear of the car. He did scrub a lot of speed off before he made contact.
Boy, and how about that shot for those joining us online? That's the car owner, unfortunately, having to watch one of his cars of J.R. Hildebrand hit the wall. That onboard shot of Ed Carpenter as, again, yellow flag is out at Iowa Speedway. As you mentioned, yeah, it hit it pretty solid. The nice thing is those rear wing assemblies are built to take a good shot. That rear wing assembly obviously is trashed, and these teams
into the corner, hits that bump, and it just gets loose. He buries the throttle to try to get it to spin all the way around, but it was going for the wall.
I like the commitment on the gas, though, man. He was going into the fence and still going to hold it wide open.
And that was his teammate Hinchcliffe there who came by and came the closest.
Just looked like he had a nice big arc into the corner. And he went.
Близко 5-й. И вот уже атака Монтоя на Карпентера. Это не смог пройти. Близко и сейчас немножко откатился назад, а здесь так и не разбита машина у Монтоя. Вот он, желтый флаг, который был ему нужен, но не собственной ценой, однако происходит именно так. Сражение с Эдом Карпентером Монтоя разбивает машину, и через неделю после большого триумфа следует для колумбийца огромному Монтоя контакт. У него был контакт с машиной Карпентера, затем было, как я понимаю, там сломана уже передняя подвеска, потому что после этого контакта это не был эффект какой-то разболтанной машины, просто уже по прямой его дала.
Yeah, shouldn't have been out there, I reckon. Should not have been out there. The car was broken and bent, and that's what we get for doing that. It's frustrating, yeah, for sure. I mean, we got to fix our pit things. We always screw ourselves in the pits. We have to do something different. Got to change something. It's just not working.
Found themselves with a host of problems. First, Andretti Autosport pilot Marco Andretti loses the rear end of his car in turn number 4. Luckily for Marco, his car would just slide backwards down the front stretch. His teammate Ryan Hunter-Reay wouldn't be as lucky moments later when his DHL Honda would get sideways at the same end of the racetrack. Hunter-Reay would back his car into the wall. The good news for Hunter-Reay is the damage was just to the bolted-on rear wing assembly, and after spending a half hour in the garage, he would continue practicing.